like 0 followers. Uh, Good afternoon. This is Dr. Nelson Vazquez. I am a family physician in Florida. I am with Kiltz Health, and that's why this live stream is on Dr. Kiltz channels. Today is Tuesday, May 20th, and we have Adam Lacy with us. We're going to have, I think, a great conversation. Um, let's see.
I know we will.
So, just a couple of things. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. My I am by myself, so I'm gonna try to keep up with the questions and still pay attention to Adam. But he knows how this goes, so
Yeah,
he'll
we're
just
ready.
keep talking. Also, if you're not a member of Kiltz Mighty Tribe, go to drkiltz.com. It's free to sign up. It's free to join us on Mondays at 5:30 Eastern Time in the afternoon. Also, join us in the mornings at the 6 a.m. Live streams. Usually, Dr. Kiltz is there as well. He sometimes shows up here when he has the time.
Very cool.
Oh, I see Sandy. Sandy's not up at 6 a.m. usually.
I definitely am not up at 6 a.m. Well, I mean, starting about this time, I start getting up earlier because I leave the windows open and I wake up naturally, to the sunlight. So I don't set an alarm. The only time I've set an alarm this year is coming on the 5 a.m. live stream with you guys.
Okay. Well, we'll change it to 6 a.m. Eastern Time. Now you're in Central, right? Central Time?
I'm actually Eastern. Yeah.
Yeah, Eastern. Oh, okay. So, no, we changed starting the first week of May. We changed from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. to see how that goes. Tell me on the chat, in the chat, if you like it better at 6 a.m. or you want to go back to 5 a.m. So far, I think most people prefer the 6, but there are some people that do prefer 5. And I just spent 5 days in Midstock 2025 in the Smoky Mountains in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. We had a wonderful time. Hundreds of people, hundreds of, maybe not hundreds of celebrities in our space, but a bunch. I mean, we did have a bunch. So
Just
we
about
had
all of
people.
them except for Carrie.
we we had people coming from Australia. I know there were people from United Kingdom. So I'm from Canada, definitely also. So a lot of people that traveled.
Wow.
So please put in the chat where you're from, and let me know if you prefer the 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. in the morning. All right. So Adam, let's start with I think most people here know who you are, but um, just in case, tell us who you are. Tell me a little bit about your story. I've heard it a couple of times already, and but a brief summary, and we can take questions and answers. And I'm gonna go ahead and mention, in case you don't know, Adam Lacy is very closely involved with Healing Humanity, the documentary. He's the Robin to Carrie's Batman, right?
That's true.
Uh, Dr. Kiltz calls me Ed McMahon, if you get the reference. He's Johnny
Right.
Carson.
Yes, you are
Uh,
correct.
so go ahead.
Yeah, so thanks for having me on, Dr. Nelson. I appreciate this opportunity. And so, yeah, obviously my name's Adam Lacy. I am a nutrition network advisor, working my way to become a nutrition network practitioner. And that's going along very well right now. And I was motivated to do that because I started a carnivore diet for completely vain reasons for an autoimmune condition that I have. And over a period of months, that started to reverse, but everything else that was fixed for me, including a brain injury that I had for 6 years prior to starting the carnivore diet, completely healed itself. My brain completely healed itself. I didn't really do anything, but I was so motivated by all of these changes simply by changing my diet and lifestyle to 100% animal based, to the carnivore lifestyle, that I was inspired to start a YouTube channel. I was inspired to work with this project with Carrie of Healing Humanity and the documentary, and now with becoming a nutrition network practitioner. That's definitely the next goal that I have, because I want to try to back up my experiences with real world science and knowledge to be able to help others.
Okay. And so he mentioned he's a nutrition network advisor. Some people might not know what that means, but that means he's already gone through some uh, plenty of hours of education, and becoming a nutrition network provider. It's actually not an easy thing. So we're both pursuing that. I'm already a certified metabolic health provider, of course. I've been a doctor for a few years.
Just a couple.
Yeah, my diploma is chiseled into a stone.
That's pretty long ago, I would say.
Yeah, I have new jokes for Seattle.
I love it. I can't wait.
Uh, a question we were asked this morning in the morning live with Dr. Kiltz was something I didn't know about. They were asking about some United Kingdom in event in August that Healing Humanity is going to be doing.
Really?
They said something about August 2nd, if I'm correct.
Interesting. I
We didn't
don't
know
know
about
anything
it.
about it.
Okay. And they said that Carrie and you were working with some people in, maybe they had the dates wrong. Are you working on some sort of meetup in the UK this
Not
coming
that I know
August?
of. That would be really fun, though.
Okay, okay. Um, so the next meetup for Kills Health and Healing Humanity are going to be at is just in about 3 weeks, right?
That's right.
It's going to be in Seattle,
Hmm.
Washington, on June 7th. Uh, what can you tell me about that meetup, by the way?
Oh, wow. So the meetup surrounds, it's basically to help subsidize and fund the filming trip. That's first and foremost, that's the main crux of what we're doing, is filming this documentary. So organically, these meetups have just kind of blossomed into something of their own, sort of like a movement of its own. And we basically started them just to try to meet up with people, eat some meat, have some fun, and make enough money that it would pay for that filming trip. And we're continuing in that fashion in Seattle. We're filming Dr. Baker and getting some good B-roll of him for the film. We're also filming Lynn DeVokie and capturing her story, and two others, Anthony Haydick and Lash. So we're going to be filming 4 individuals out there doing a lot of work. And, that meetup in Seattle is to help subsidize the equipment rentals, the Airbnb rentals, the flights, the travel, and all that sort of thing.
Okay, and on drkiltz.com and on kiltzmeetup.com, we have a link to all the meetups we're going to be at, and actually a link on our page shoots you right into the Healing Humanity uh, Seattle meetup page. So if you live near Seattle, if you want to travel to there, I was looking for tickets today because I'm in Florida, so I'm crossing the country diagonally to go over there, and we'll
You got
probably
to do
have to
anything
spend.
special for that?
I just need to spend 12 hours to 15 hours in the air because there is on, there's only one choice for a straight flight. Everything else is probably with stops, unfortunately. But if you're in the Seattle area, I mean, even if it's just a couple of hours, it's gonna be a long one. Meaning you're gonna be able to enjoy being with community all day because it's a two-parter, right? There's an event
Yes.
in the morning that's 10 to 2, and
Yep.
then an hour in between for us to move. Now they're calling it the beach. Are we actually at the beach or a big lake?
There is a beach there. Yes.
Okay. Uh, and then 3 to 7 is being at the beach. Hopefully it doesn't rain. Any contingencies if it rains?
Bring an umbrella.
Okay. We are carnivores, right?
Yes.
All right. So tell me a little bit more. You started, like you said, I'm repeating your words. I'm not calling you vain, but you do say this, that you started for vain reasons. It was some skin condition, which I've
Hmm.
seen the pictures. I don't know if you have any pictures at hand right now, but then a bunch of other things, big ones, improved. In particular, there were, I do remember you weighed and the brain injury. So give us a little bit more about that, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're right. I did start for vain reasons. I'm not, I guess I really wouldn't say I'm really a vain person. I guess in that instance I was, just because the vitiligo, it's around my waist, right? So it's like covered all the time. Nobody's ever seen it, right? And it's been there for 6, 7 years prior to starting the carnivore diet. And, I didn't really have too much of an issue with it because nobody could see it. But 2 years prior to going on the carnivore diet, I started a raw vegan diet. And I did not do it for ethical reasons or anything like that, or to try to get healthy or whatever. My business partner at the time uh, came down with prostate cancer. And a friend of his, 17 years prior, went on a raw vegan protocol, and he wrote out this big long protocol of what to do. And he was still alive today. So, and this protocol was because he had prostate cancer as well. So my business partner, Jay, he said, I think I'm going to try this. It's going to suck. I don't really like eating this way. And I said, you know what, man, I'll do it with you. So I decided that I was going to eat raw vegan, even though I absolutely hated vegetables. It's one of the worst things that I could possibly eat. I would always have to put animal products on it, right? Butter or bacon grease or like a ham soup base or something like that, and mixed in with the green beans. So at any rate, while I was eating this raw vegan diet, the vitiligo started to appear on my arms. And I thought, oh my gosh, what happens if this gets on my face or something like that, right? Like I said, I'm not really vain, but it's just like, who wants to have that extra level of whatever in a conversation with somebody if they're sitting there, staring at this and they don't know what it is and they're weirded out by it or whatever. So just to try to prevent it to getting to that point, that's when I went on YouTube and started researching. Is there any way that I can fix this or reverse it? Right. Now, the doctors, there's protocols that you can do, but a lot of times they're not very effective and they're somewhat expensive, and I didn't have the money. So that's, hence the reason why I went the DIY route, the YouTube University, and found Joe Rogan, and he reversed or started to reverse his vitiligo on a carnivore diet. And then I went down a big giant rabbit hole.
And so Joe Rogan has vitiligo. In Spanish, is the exact same word except it's pronounced vitiligo.
Okay.
but it's the same exact same word. And famously, also, I believe Michael Jackson had vitiligo,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what started his quest, not getting rid of the vitiligo necessarily, but making the rest of his skin blind, bleaching his the rest of his skin.
Mm-hmm.
Any other famous people with vitiligo? I mean, you must have found out if there's other people.
Um, Not really. The only other ones that I know of is there's a couple of models that that have that condition, and I think that they came more to the forefront, in recent years, socially, because they're trying to put people that aren't the standard cookie cutter model in front of people to show that everyone's beautiful. And I think there's a couple models out there that have it, but aside from that, no. I mean, I'm just nose to the grindstone, working all the time, not really paying attention to much. So,
And it's not really a condition. There are multiple conditions that we have in humans that they don't have any mortality associated with it. Vitiligo, it's one of those things. It's an autoimmune condition. It's much like, I think you also had this plantar fasciitis. Nobody dies from plantar fasciitis, but it's painful.
yes,
And
although I
you,
felt like I might die, in the throes of it.
uh,
Yeah,
so
I definitely
that
had
was
that for
something else
2
that improved
years.
with you, right?
Yeah, so I had that for 2 years. Coincidentally, that coincided with the raw vegan diet. I'm sure I had some kind of markers ahead of time before I started that diet. I was on a standard American diet before that, and yo-yo dieted with Atkins and Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem, all sorts of things. And it just so happened that once I started this raw vegan diet, I never really put two and two together until, in hindsight, I was able to put it together. But that raw vegan diet actually made that condition much, much more intense.
So you can be healthy more than one way, but in the spectrum of things, and of course, I'm preaching to the choir here, you know, who please put in the chat if you like a vegan diet. Uh, but raw vegan, now we know that raw vegetables have, yes, there are some nutrients in the vegetable. That doesn't mean you absorb them, but probably have the most or the highest amounts of oxalates, phytates, lectins. I mean, you name it, all the plant anti nutrients and toxic substances uh, are there. So if you're going to eat vegetables, well cooked is the only way I would recommend you to do it. Uh, so
That's right. And I always wonder, i- i- is is raw vegan worse than eating processed foods, because at least processed foods are fortified with vitamins and minerals, right? That are bioavailable or more bioavailable.
so we do have a question.
Okay.
Let's see. Says Dr. Nelson, how do you begin eating the proper human diet with gastroparesis, and how do you heal it? Uh, I'm going to give you the chance to give first an answer, and I'll address that. I don't know if Mala knows that I have or had that, but what do you think, Adam?
Well, for starters, a proper human diet is good for essentially every health condition and malady there is out there. So I would not treat this any different than anything else. I would, depending on your personality and your physiology, how you handle things, whether you jump in with both feet and rip the band-aid off kind of a person. Just know that you may have some issues that you need to look out for, like electrolyte imbalances. Just make sure you're fortifying with electrolytes when you start doing that, and that you might have issues in the restroom with your body not being able to process all of that fat. And plus, you're losing a lot of water and things like that. And you may have issues with diarrhea in the restroom. So you might want to gradually work your way into the carnivore diet. But as far as your specific condition, I can't speak to that. Dr. Nelson can speak to that. And as long as you're giving your body the proper nutrients, the fats and the proteins, that's going to be the optimal diet that you need to consume in order to fix your condition. I know that for sure. But Dr. Nelson, you can speak to that actual condition.
So, I think it's pronounced mallet. If I did mispronounce it, I apologize. But I don't know if you know that I do have or had gastroparesis or gastroparesis, depending where you are. It's the same word also in Spanish. So, uh, but I did have that. How did I develop that? Uh, I was on a GLP-1 for 1.5 years, not to lose weight, but to help control with because the purpose of the GLP, the approved indications started with adjunct in management of diabetes. And I had been on it for about a year and a half. It had already produced the symptoms of gastroparesis, and I could eat one day, and 2 days later, I know that food's still in my stomach. I couldn't eat more than once a day, even if I wanted to. So, it, in a roundabout way, actually, it benefited me because it kept me honest on eating no more than once a day. I just couldn't because gastroparesis, what that means is a slowing down of the gastrointestinal system. And it's actually a type of neuropathy. Okay. Anything that affects or damages the function of the nerves, it's actually a type of neuropathy. And as far as helping me with the diabetes, my A1C had been for years 6.7 or around that. And just 2 weeks before, about a month before I stopped it, it was 6.7. So, it had not helped anything on that. Never helped me for the weight loss. It wasn't until I changed my diet that that happened. And it is a known side effect. So gastroparesis is a known side effect. It's the main way of action of the GLP-1s because they slow down uh, gastric emptying and your whole intestinal movement. It's called peristalsis. Uh, and that's how your stomach and intestines move your food with waves down the road, right? So I don't think even if, I mean, if I had any tests, and I don't think I'm suffering from that, but I don't have the symptoms anymore. I am able to eat if I wanted a couple of times a day. I just spend in meat stock. Unfortunately, I admit I spent the 4 days grazing because there was always something available. And carnivore, but you can do damage if you're always. So I'm back to being home and trying to behave. But uh, yeah, it can be very disrupting when you have that because people that have it could be to the point where they only are able to consume small amounts of food and they already feel full, and then it's not digesting properly for hours or days. It can also give you severe constipation because of the same problem, the slowing. And when I say severe constipation, you can get backed up and hard stools and all these things. So, has it helped? For me, it has. And we do know ketogenic diets do help with anything that's nerve brain related. Unfortunately, the brain and the nerves cells regenerate at a much lower rate than, for example, a liver. You can cut off part of the liver, it'll regrow. It's not the same with nerves. It takes a little bit longer. So, uh, but it's better or gone. I mean, I can say it's gone because otherwise, this weekend I would not have had as much fun. Uh, all right. Uh, you did have also, besides the plantar fasciitis we've mentioned, you had unexpectedly, because you were not doing necessarily for the weight, but you were a little bit chunky, right?
I was. I was a mini fatty McButterpants. So that's Carrie's nickname that his daughters gave him, and I quite like it. But I was a mini. I wasn't as big as Carrie was, but I was roughly 80 pounds overweight, which 8, 10 pound bowling balls. That's nothing to laugh at, right? So it got to the point where I couldn't tie my shoes without being out of breath, and that was quite annoying. And I had struggled with that for a couple decades because exercise was a 4-letter word for me, and I just basically gave up. And that, coupled with eating the standard American diet, I just didn't have the energy, the the mental clarity, I just didn't feel well, right? Just depressed and anxious and just felt like crap. So I always struggled with my weight. So when I started Carnivore, I was not exercising. I did not intend on doing any sorts of exercise. Like I said, exercise was a 4-letter word. So I lost the entirety of the weight that I lost simply by shopping from this section of the grocery store and not this one, eating just a strict carnivore diet and nothing else. And now I have so much energy, I don't know what to do with it. I actually do exercise, and it's fun.
It just changes one's life basically, and do not knock off the importance of being able to tie your shoes. Obviously, and this could have mortality associated with it, because back in 2022, when I was having problems walking and I was at near my highest weight, uh, I did fall 2 times. One of them was trying to tie my shoes. Okay, because I couldn't. So being able to stand, go down without having to kneel, even just go, and it's a major non-scale victory. Uh, Very, very important. So you also found that it helped with anxiety and depression, and you were not expecting that.
No, not at all. Yeah,
Uh,
that was well, none of this stuff I expected. I started to try to reverse an autoimmune condition. I literally had, aside from the weight loss, through some research and seeing Dante Ferrigno, he's like, I lost all this weight, and he looked like death warmed over in his beginner, as before, and then in his after, he's totally kicking butt. And I'm like, wow, this might do some damage as far as losing weight. And so I did know that, and watching some Dr. Very videos, I assumed that I would lose weight, but I didn't think that I would lose it the way that I did, right? I just assumed it was going to be like every other diet that I had been on, every other thing that I've tried in the past, where it goes away for a while, and then eventually it's just going to come back, right? So yeah, that was not expected, that I would be able to lose all of the weight, right? And get to my optimal body weight and keep it off and not have any issues whatsoever. Like that part was not expected. But yeah, the healing, the brain injury, the plantar fasciitis, the depression, the anxiety, the mental clarity and the focus, not just the lack of depression and anxiety, but also the presence of joy in my life. That none of that stuff was expected, and I
Talk
welcome it.
about an unexpected side effect, right?
Yeah, yeah, I
You
love those
would,
side effects.
hey, go on this diet. You're trying to do it. Most people come to it probably for weight loss, but there are so many. I mean, this weekend I heard so many stories about other things, including multiple sclerosis.
Yes,
Met a woman who hopefully will have her here. 5 years, took her 60 days to put her in remission, and she hasn't had any symptoms for 5 years.
that's incredible.
Okay. And now you have been involved in doing these interviews for the documentary. So you've heard all the stories, right? And it
Hmm.
seems if you go back to 3 4 years, uh, or just before you started to find out about this, those stories would definitely be totally incredible, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah,
And
it's
then
all the things that these folks have healed. It's just it's mind blowing. Parkinson's for one. Like, wow, I never would have expected to even touch that area of health. That could. I didn't think that could even happen. So,
Tom, Target Prime Rib, says Adam is the best, but don't tell Adam I said that.
nice. No, you're the best.
Rick says I need to go back to Fresco y Mas to get more chicken for my heart attack this week.
Yes, got to get
Okay.
more heart attacks.
Now, by the way, Thomas was saying I don't know if he's walking right now, but he made a comment that he's walking. Which I assume if he's not walking right now is because he's walking more than he used to do.
Oh, that's
Uh,
cool.
I had plantar fasciitis delivering mail. Oh, I didn't know you were a postal carrier. Uh, it was double hockey sticks. Yes, very
Yeah.
painful. And the bad thing about plantar fasciitis, if you've had it, you know what I'm talking about. It is worse after you have rested your feet.
Yes.
When you when you start, like, you can wake up from sleep. You have been resting your foot for let's say 8 hours, and that first step is the worst pain that you're gonna feel, and that's most of the time that's all I need to know what a patient is complaining about, because there's no other condition usually uh, that will give you the same. You've rested your foot, and those first steps in the morning might be just murder.
Oh yeah,
Definitely.
the first steps in the morning is like you step on your foot and you almost collapse right there on the spot. It's extremely painful, and I'm so happy to not have to wear those boots at night and pay $250 to $300 for a pair of shoes. Uh, I mean, it was insane. The stuff that I went through to try to relieve the pain. Rolling my foot on frozen bottle of water and just all kinds of crazy weird stuff. And my wife's an occupational therapist, so she helped with doing some different massages and things like that. And all of it helps just a tiny bit. It's sort of masking the pain just a little bit. But 2 years of that intense pain, 30 minutes and of standing, and then I'd have to sit for 2 hours and then go through that whole process of standing up again, and it's super painful. And to have that gone, start to go away in 3 days on a carnivore diet, and then completely gone by the fifth day, and it has never returned, is just mind blowing to me.
So let me tell you what the treatment of plantar fasciitis is. You go to the doctor, they diagnose you. Uh, Actually, it's fairly easy to diagnose. That part of the history that I mentioned is very key, but there is a specific place where you press, and I know exactly where it is. So every time I press that, the patients would jump, hey, right there. Uh, So it's fairly easy to diagnose on the first read. You don't even need an X-ray. Almost all the time, the X-ray is going to show a spur on the heel bone,
Mhm.
but very easy to diagnose. Is not easy to get rid of with the traditional treatment. The first thing they're going to say, okay, well, let's put you on an nonsteroidal anti-inflammatory agent, an NSAID, which means ibuprofen, Anaprox, Aleve, Advil, or one of the, probably there are over 20 in the market.
Mhm.
And those medications on a regular basis can create havoc in your system. Okay, so that didn't work. You go back to the doctor. Uh, you might end up with someone who knows how to do this procedure, or you end up in the podiatrist, the food doctor, and they'll offer to put a needle into the painful area and shoot you up with
Yeah.
steroids.
No thanks.
And you might do that a couple of times, and all it took was a change in your diet and mine,
Right.
because I suffered from that on and off for 35 years. Uh, and I didn't. You remember 3 to 5 days? I don't remember when it went away. The absence of pain stops you from paying attention to wherever you were hurting.
Mhm.
So it was at some point I realized, okay, wait a second, I haven't had this painful episode. Uh, Dave Mack, if you listen to him, he had plantar fasciitis, and he also doesn't remember exactly when it went away. He just remembered that the first time he tried to hurry up and catch, I don't know if it was a bus or a train, and he started running. Then he realized, okay, wait a second, I didn't develop the pain that I normally would develop if I tried to do this. So it's fascinating.
Right.
Now,
Yeah, for some it's things do improve slower than others. For me it just happens so rapidly that I couldn't help but notice. I'm like 5 days I'm like completely out of this pain in 5 days. The osteoarthritis pain was similar. It was very short period of time for that inflammation pain to go down. And then hey Red, how you doing? And then but the brain injury, right? And the vitiligo, those took months for me to notice what had happened. So it took roughly five
tell
months
me
to.
more about the brain injury, so they understand that this was not, this was a big thing. I think that was a big thing. But tell us a little bit more on the story about the brain injury.
Yeah, so back in 2017, I was driving on my way to work for a controls engineering position that I had at a company that made medical devices for Johnson and Johnson and Ethicon endosurgery. Anyways, I was on my way to work in my truck, and traffic was backed up on the way to work, and a 53-foot semi loaded with a full load of steel didn't stop at all. He crashed into two cars behind me and then hit me, and then I hit the next person in front of me. So there was four cars in this car crash. I was third in line, and just because, and most people would think, oh well, you didn't get that much damage. It basically totaled my truck, and I had a huge truck, F-150 4x4 long bed, Super Crew, and I was told that my truck went up the retaining wall and came back down. So this guy like plowed into all of us. So the first car in the accident that was hit was fatal, unfortunately. And so yeah, I hit my head during that ordeal and had lots of major complications with that afterwards. So I had lots of balance issues. I couldn't close my eyes and stand while I was standing up, or I would fall over. I had vertigo issues at night, sleeping in bed. I'd have to sleep with the light on because if there wasn't something for me to fix my eyes upon, I would get vertigo effects. The room would start spinning, get sick. My intense migraines started out only about an hour or 2 hours of actually doing anything during the day, and these migraines would get so intense that I would have to go to sleep basically sleep it off until the next day. So just general issues with dizziness, vertigo effects, walking down long hallways. Basically the room would start spinning walking down these long hallways. I can't explain it, but I can tell you that it happened. And then I also had motor tics. So once my brain was cognitively overloaded, my head would start jerking uncontrollably, and I couldn't stop it. And I had none of these issues prior to this accident. So that went on for 6 years prior to starting a carnivore diet, and had only marginally improved. I mean, if I could say my symptoms probably were reduced in half. They said I lost 10% of my brain function with this occurrence, and if my migraines would come after 2 to 4 hours of the day, at the end of this 6 years, it was probably 8 hours I could go before I would start to get a headache. So the symptoms did improve over time, but they were still there. And the doctors told me that this was permanent. Like, this would probably never fully resolve itself. And one interesting thing to note, Dr. Nelson, is because I was on that raw vegan diet, most people claim, well, you were eating, well, let me put it this way. They say the carnivore diet, the reason why it was so effective was because I eliminated all the processed foods, right? Well, I was on a raw vegan diet for 2 years. So I had already eliminated all processed foods for 2 years. And during that 2 years, I seen zero change in my brain health whatsoever. It never improved. So it only improved once I started on the carnivore diet, and like I was mentioning before, it slowly progressed over a period of about 5 months. And then once that 5-month mark hit, I was like, man, I don't remember the last time that I was jerking my head, like all of these symptoms. I just noticed it all at once. Like, holy cow, I'm not having any of these symptoms anymore. Like, is this actually gone? I think it is.
And some of these things sometimes can take, especially the brain, can take a long time, but you can start feeling better way before you might see changes. For example, the story now about people losing 100 pounds, 200, 300, 400 pounds, we find them anywhere with the carnivore diet, right? But they started feeling better within weeks, at the very worst 2 months after starting the diet. So something happens inside you, and you might not have the physical difference, or obviously it's nice to lose the weight, but I'm gonna bottom line that it improves mitochondrial function. So, and that's where people are talking in the chat about California. I lived in California a year and a half, so we're not gonna get into politics here, but
been to California quite a few times for work, but yeah, I agree. No politics. I'm not a political person. I love everybody.
I called you chunky, and Brenda's saying Dr. Nelson so polite, chunky. Love it. All right, I do have a question here, and you answer it first. Dr. Nelson, will the carnivore diet reverse acanthosis nigricans? What do you think? Do you know what that is? Do you know what that is?
I'll be 100% honest. I do not know what it is.
Okay.
But I do know that a carnivore diet will give you the best opportunity to reverse almost all conditions.
Okay. So you can, without knowing what it is, you can say yes.
Yes.
I wish I had the picture with me. And I know where to find it on my phone, so I'm gonna see if I can quickly find that. But I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it. It would be better if I could find it on the computer. And uh, now, don't get scared. Let me see. You can see my face, right?
Yep.
That is me. That's
What
mid
year was
90s.
that?
Do you see my right hand? Are you able to see
Yep,
a black spot basically on my
I
right
do.
hand?
I see
Look
that.
at the wrist. You see it, right?
Yep, the top of your hand there. Yep.
Do you see it now?
I do not.
All right.
Are
That's
you a
acanthosis
magician?
nigricans. Basically, and anybody um anybody that has a guess why that happens, please put in the chat. Take a wild guess. Even if you didn't know what acanthosis nigricans was before, there is one cause that everybody here is going to understand as soon as I say it. But when you see something like that, and it's basically a change in the skin where you may have a patch, a lot of people get it around the neck, uh, and your skin is actually getting darker and darker and darker. Okay, so it's a skin condition. Let me see if anyone uh, has by any chance. Oh yeah, yeah. Of course you know. These people are so smart.
Are you sure that wasn't just a stamp from you going to the club?
Uh, okay. That, I guess that would be the right place, right?
Right?
So he put it as a question. I don't know if he were the first. So I do have someone who answered it before. So there are two words that are related: hyperinsulinemia, of course, insulin resistance, because basically high levels of insulin is what causes acanthosis nigricans. So you can see the size I had at that in that picture. I was definitely over 300 pounds in that picture. And I had that black spot, which has gone away completely. Uh,
That's
so
awesome.
you see someone with that, please don't go and talk to them and tell them what they have, but you can diagnose it on anyone, especially if it's around the neck or skin that you're seeing. Yeah, hyperinsulinemia, insulin resistance, or I call it insulin insensitivity because a lot of people don't like insulin resistance. The construct, according to Professor Parquet.
Hmm.
But whatever happens, your body's not listening to insulin, and high levels of insulin. I have a list of 25, 30 things here, and it's incomplete. All the result of high levels of insulin and the ultimate metabolic dysfunction, uh, type 2 diabetes, is as well. So, and what's the best treatment for that now that you know exactly what that is, Adam? Are you frozen? We have frozen. Okay. So, no surprise to anyone here. It is a low carb, high fat diet. A lot of people can reverse it with just staying consistently under 20 grams. Some people, like in many of these conditions, it takes going to a zero carb diet, right? So, Linda, you were right. And Cranky Carnivore Cutler, you were right. And yeah, inflammation is correct, but more specifically, Wow, Dr. Nelson, that looks like a different person. Yeah, unfortunately, that's how I spend most of my um, adult life and as a doctor. This is what you would see when you walked into to my room. Uh, my classic picture is
That's
shows,
incredible.
yeah. So, oh, you have it there. I'm running out. I have to print more. Uh, oh my God! I just had this bacon flavored fried beef fat. I'm hypnotized.
Oh,
So
nice. That sounds
I was asking
delicious.
you what's the best way to reverse? Now that you know what acanthosis nigricans is and what indicates, what's the best way to reverse it?
Carnivore diet.
Yeah, it's
Low.
funny, and you know you might feel sometimes like now you that you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail,
That's
right?
right.
But
Yep.
it is true that there's so many things that probably can improve uh, doing that. You go to a supermarket and you know you look at people and you my mind starts running because I'm pretty good at diagnosis things that you can diagnose just by
Mm-hmm.
looking at people. Like you know, I once diagnosed someone on Facebook just by pictures as having a thyroid problem, and I didn't tell her
Oh, wow.
immediately, but for about a year or longer, I keep. This is someone who's maybe 10, 12 years younger than me, but we went to the same school system, and her sister was closer to my grade, and I had to send her a private message. Do you have any thyroid problem? Oh no. Like a year later, she sends me a message. You know, I saw my so and so endocrinologist in Puerto Rico, and I do have a thyroid problem. So, you know,
Oh,
I
wow.
cannot stop people in the supermarket to tell them you have this or
Right.
that, but you can tell, you can tell people who are not metabolically healthy.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, we keep doing these live streams. We'll eventually reach them.
yes, and whoever is here, please, and thank you for being here. Uh, we do have over 80 people between the different channels.
Awesome.
Uh, I don't know if we have the Instagram on because Dr. Kills needs to start that. So I know we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook right now, and thank you for being here. This is
Hello,
only
YouTube, and
the
hello,
third week.
Facebook.
I'm sorry?
Hello, YouTube, and hello, Facebook.
And please subscribe to, obviously, if you're here, you're probably subscribed to the channel. If not, just click unsubscribe. It's that easy. Um Also, in the description is my own personal channel at the real Dr. Nelson in YouTube. Uh, I think we did put Adam's channel as well, which is Carnivore Today, and we have Alia's channel there. So please subscribe to all of them and come to the meetups.
Yes, we want to see you in person. Share
All right.
share a dinner table with you and eat a ribeye.
So I do have one. It's not a question, more of a request. Can we do a meetup in California, though? Uh, I don't know if you guys have started to talk about that. A couple of people I know, Dr. Kiltz has mentioned something about we don't have a plan yet, but I think at some point, hopefully, will come. These
I
meetups
think
are
so.
not easy to do. I think they create a lot of awareness because we do get people there that other people drag. "Yeah, okay, can come with me and do this," and it's a lot of fun to meet a lot of people. We usually have some guest speakers that are very popular. Uh, guess who's going to be the main attraction in Seattle, Washington? Who is it, Adam?
Dr. Robert Kiltz.
No, 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 no. We'll be
Well,
there. By the way, Dr. Kills will be there. Yeah, Dr. Nelson's going to be there. But on the middle of the picture, if you look at the picture, there is a giant,
yes.
literally and figuratively. Okay.
Dr. Sean Baker, the man that coined the phrase, or at least made popular the phrase, the carnivore diet.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
we're looking forward to that.
basically, we've been eating like this for thousands and thousands of years. But he coined the term in modern society when he published the book, The Carnivore Diet. So Sean Baker is going to be in Seattle. I believe he's going to be the whole day there. He lives in that part of the world. So I just spent a few days with him in Meatstock. So I had the privilege as well. We've met him, you know. Adam has a picture with Carrie lifting Dr. Baker. Very
Yeah, it took
funny.
both of us to lift him up.
And the thing is, they put him to do exercise with people one of the mornings. But when he got there, uh, jokingly, I said, "Hey, how do you feel about lifting 200 pounds?" You know, he said, "You want me to do it now?" He was. I said, "No, no, that's okay."
That's
He
funny.
was
Did
ready
he
to
do
do
it?
it. No, he did.
He,
I stopped
no.
him.
No. You don't want to be coddled like a baby?
Yeah, I didn't want him to get a herniated disc. He lifts more than 200 pounds, so uh, I know he could do it, but no, that's okay.
Right.
All right. So
Maybe in Seattle.
Adam is also like, I mean, we did say this at the very beginning, involved with Healing Humanity, but tell us a little bit about the site, Healing Humanity Live.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have the website healinghumanity.movie. So if anybody's wanting to get more information about the documentary itself, you can stop over there and check us out. And we got so many requests for people that needed help. We still get a half a dozen messages every single day of people. I have cancer. I have this condition, that condition. Can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me? Well, we can't apply like individual personalized help to absolutely everybody. So we started the membership site healinghumanity.life in order to try to help those people in a group format and then direct them if they need more specialized attention towards health coaches in other areas. But all the proceeds that come from that site is obviously to help run itself. And then everything on top of that goes towards funding the documentary and the series. So if you join up just because you want to hang with other like-minded people, just know that it's a great cause in order to get this message out. And I know that we've been on the right track because every time that we've shown the torch, which is like a sort of a mini type of a trailer, we have people approach us at every single one of these meetups that say that they are now inspired to do the carnivore diet because of seeing that they were not previously on a carnivore diet. So, just that little bit of feedback is enough to know that we're absolutely on the right track with what we're doing. And, our members are a big part of helping us make that possible.
All right. I have a question here. I'm going to highlight it. Uh, Unfortunately, this is a complicated question and answer. It doesn't take just 1 second to answer, but excuse me. Uh, The answer is I don't know if you, in her case, the iodine by itself will help. Okay. Thyroid conditions improve with carnivore diet. Do they improve completely to the point where you don't need any medication? Sometimes they do, many people do, and sometimes they don't. But this is something that needs um, to be done with the doctor because there are symptoms you want to address. And if there are no symptoms, there are labs that need to be done, and you have to have a whole picture, including in this case, would iodine help? Well, if you're low on iodine, may help. But the most important thing is to reduce what's causing inflammation in your body and autoimmune reactions. If it's Hashimoto's, uh, someone that has diabetes and kidney disease, that means their diabetes is the ultimate metabolic dysfunction. I mean, you've made it to the mountain of bad if you
Hmm.
end up with diabetes, because we not even doctors should know much about type 2 diabetes. If because I in 40 years, if I don't see someone of the specific diagnosis, I usually don't learn much about that but I became an expert of managing diabetes because I had so many that I had to manage.
Hmm.
And so diabetes, kidney disease, yes, they improve. I have reversed my diabetes. Did I cure the damage in my body? No. There's an analogy I always like to make, and that is if you pull out a sheet of aluminum foil, usually it's shiny, flat, no wrinkles, right? And then if you crumble it and try to straighten it again, you can do a pretty good job straightening it. It's gonna never be perfect. Never is gonna be back to where it was. There's still some wrinkles in there. So I am of the belief the longer you've had the crumbled foil, when you try to straighten it, the longer the creases and the wrinkles are going to be there and might be impossible to get rid of them. But you're going to feel a heck of a lot better. I can almost guarantee you that. And unfortunately, I cannot guarantee anything uh, in medicine, but I I have my story and I have thousands and thousands of anecdotes that we have all seen. It's not only diabetes, but um, things like multiple sclerosis always amazes me, and things like cancer, and things like dementia, and, Parkinson's, all these things that we thought there's no way that you can get rid of them or at least control them to the point that we improve quality of life significantly. So,
Hmm.
unfortunately, we're past our hour mark. So, thank you, Adam, for being here. Where can we find you? If someone is not subscribed to you or your channels, where can they go and subscribe to you? By the way, the first answer is look in the description because I have it there. But where can we find you, Adam?
Well, anyone can find me at Carnivore Today on basically every single platform. That's my channel. And then you can find me on the documentaries channel at Healing Humanity Movie, except on X, it's at HH Documentary. And like I mentioned, you can find me at uh, healinghumanity.movie, healinghumanity.life. My website, carnivoretoday.com, is going to be opened up here hopefully in the next month or two. We're trying to get some really good articles on there for everybody. So that's where you can find me.
All right. And Healing Humanity Live, props to all of you guys for that because it's excellent. You have, there's never too many of a good thing, but you have too many options. You already have, and you're coming up with new groups and new Zoom calls. How many Zoom calls do you have a week? right
I think
now?
we it's hard to
You
keep
lost
track, but I
count.
think it's around 12. Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
So
agree. Having more options in this space is a great thing for everyone to have, so many different avenues to find their health. Like Kiltz Mighty Tribe, you got SBG, you got Dr. Barry's group, you got uh, Anthony's group. I mean, there's a lot of options out there right now, and you'll find a home at one of them for sure.
yes, and we promote all of them. There's no competition here. It's just everybody trying to help everybody. I'm constantly there and healing humanity life, except when I'm supposed to be, like last week.
Right.
But
You showed up. You showed
I
up. You
didn't
were
I
clutch.
didn't know I was traveling, so I had to answer from the waiting area, trying to board my flight. But I made it there, right?
Yep, you did.
And
All was good. Life is good.
all right, thank you everyone for being here, and we'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Eastern Time in the same channels. All right. You have a good afternoon, good night, good morning, wherever you are. Bye bye.